Da 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 da.
Live
Live
from
from Seattle at the Orpheum Theater
it's Zach
with
and
a full
Adison.
house. In the description of the last one, you spelled my name Sack. Was that intentional or not?
Did I?
I mean, the Z and the S are right next to each other on the keyboard, but it didn't seem like an accident.
Well, we'll see.
You spelled S-A-C-H. That's how you spelled it.
Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, so today we're doing 11 best Office episodes.
You don't want me to tell my story about what happened yesterday first?
Oh, sure. Let's. I don't
See,
know. Does it?
I feel like
Do you want
the podcast works when there's like a conversational period and then there's like a more list-oriented period.
I mean, sure, whatever. Yeah, go for it.
Like on your mom's house, there's always like 40 minutes of chit-chat, and then like they're like, and now introducing our guest who's on the show.
I mean,
And then they have like,
that's true.
you know what I mean?
Thing. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I guess we don't have a guest though. We also have the sponsors. Here's the 15 minutes where we talk about the people who are paying
Could be
us.
sponsored by Crystal Light Lemonade.
That's true. We drink.
That's-
you know.
They sponsor my existence.
That's valid.
So, with the Snoopy cup?
Sponsored by Snoops.
Snoop? I think that's from the new Peanuts movie, which I haven't seen, so I can't co-sign that, actually.
I haven't seen most of the Peanuts movies, but I'll sell my soul if they're willing to pay me.
Fair enough.
Okay, so
So-
what's your story from yesterday?
Well, fuck me dead. Like, I had already decided that I didn't enjoy edibles, but I hadn't thrown them away, you know? So on Friday night, I was looking to turn it up a little bit. And it's really once you take like acid 3 weekends in a row and then just don't take it, like.
Yeah, you're good at it.
Because it's not that I want to take acid again. I was like, I definitely don't want to take that for a while. I need a break. But like, just to be completely sober for 3 days is like, I ain't about that. So on Friday night, I took a little bit of the edible, and the problem is that they all melted together. So I have very little idea of how much dosage I'm actually taking. And I have a feeling that some of it is not just the amount that I'm getting each time of the gummy stuff, but actually the homogeneity of the gummy itself.
Of the THC within.
I think there might just be pockets of THC oil or something in there. Because I took some on Friday night, literally felt nothing. Like, I didn't even feel more drowsy than normal. So, I was like, well, I can at least afford to take twice as much as that, and I'll be fine. So, at I guess it was probably 10:30 in the morning yesterday, on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I took twice as much. And then I was like, well, and then I started watching Good Time.
What's good?
Which, so it's this movie on Netflix. It was sort of like an independent film.
Okay.
And it's about a botched bank robbery, basically. It's sort of like a day in the life of underground New York City type of thing.
Yeah.
And I can hear the cooler blowing on you.
Oh, no.
By the way. But so I started watching Good Time, and it's very anxiety inducing.
Uh-huh.
like that's the point of the movie, is that it's like a thrill ride. You know what I mean?
Brilliant.
And it's all going good. Like the first 30 minutes of the movie is like pretty intense, but like I was enjoying it. And then all of a sudden it starts hitting me and I'm like, oh no.
Oh no.
I am totally fucked. Like, you know the Alice in Chains song, Down in a Hole? I actually don't know that song. That's just something that Joe Rogan said. But
Brilliant.
and yeah, I just knew I was super fucked. Because
so just, like waves of anxiety or what?
Well, the thing about it is that I can't tell if it's just the high itself that normal people feel and they enjoy it but I don't. I can't tell if it's that or if it actually just induces me to have panic attacks. Because I feel like the feelings that I have are like, and here's the problem is because I've taken like varying amounts of this edible and it's like I feel like nothing, take some more, nothing. And it's like, oh, slightly drowsy. And then, like, take a little more than that, and it's like, oh, I all of a sudden become retarded. like, I was trying to talk to my mom on the phone, and I was just, like, could barely, like, think through what I was saying. Like, I would forget what I was saying halfway through a sentence and not be able to remember the first half of this, you know.
That is one of the effects, yes.
Like, it just made me feel retarded, but it wasn't a good feeling. But then there's, like, as soon as I took slightly more than that, it was, like, panic attacks just started happening.
See, I'm also just not sure, like, the whole, you know, you take a little bit more, and then all of it kicks in together, sort of thing. So, like, the taking a little bit more,
I'm not talking about it in the same night. I'm talking about, like, I'm talking about, like, times. So I've basically taken bites off of this edible, like, on 5 different occasions, basically. Okay. And I'm gauging, like, the different feelings I had on each one of those. But this is, like, easily the most I've taken.
And it was just anxiety.
Well, see, okay, so here's the problem, is it feels a lot like a certain part of the come down from LSD. And which is that, like, your skin is, like, really sensitive, but it's literally, like, pulsating and vibrating.
Yes. That's yeah, when I took edibles, for sure, that happens.
And, like, the edible just makes you, like, your entire body just feels like it's pulsating.
Yeah, you just want to, like, rub yourself and shit.
I absolutely hate that feeling. Like,
really?
It is, to me, it's unbearable.
See, I love the physical part of the high. Like, the sensational part, I really enjoy that.
See, it doesn't feel good to me at all. Like, to me, it feels like someone's torturing me. Like, strange. It feels like I've been put in a microwave, and there are, like, rays, like pulsating my body with energy.
I love it when it feels like my skin is rippling. And, like, that's part of the acid trip, too, that I really enjoy. I really enjoy the physical, like, the sensational high part of it. And, like, I'm constantly touching myself. Like,
see, I don't like that. Well, and the whole thing, too, it completely dried my eyes out, completely dried my nose out, to where I can feel my own throatal flap. And, like, I can feel everything back in there, like, because it's just so dry.
The edible did, or the acid?
Both. Well, the three tabs of acid was enough to do that.
Yeah.
But because before then, it clogged my sinuses up, which was interesting. So the 3 tabs, it turned on me.
My nose is running on the acid for sure. Like, yeah. I think you just start expelling fluid.
Yeah, that's part of the thing where I was telling you one time about, like, you just start crying and you don't really know why. I think part of it is just that, like, fluids.
Yeah. Your body is just, like, exuding all the fluid you have in you.
Yeah. But with the edible, oh my gosh. Like, just sitting on the couch and trying to sit still was unbearable.
Yeah, I like laying on the floor or something like that, looking up at the ceiling and touching myself. That's like an ideal situation for that kind of, sensation.
Well, the other thing is that it really hurts my eyes. And I think I might be predisposed to that because, as you know, I had migraines for many years.
Yeah.
And the pain from my migraines was always in my eyes.
I mean, you do also have glasses, which,
Yes.
you have astigmatism or whatever, so.
I don't have that.
What's it called?
I don't have astigmatism.
No? I thought that's
No.
just what it was called when your eyes don't focus properly.
Shit, I might have that.
I mean, I'm coming at this completely ignorant.
No, honestly, I might have that because I've actually been noticing. I think the drugs might be making it worse, though, to be honest. Like, the drugs definitely make my eyes function worse than they did previously to when I had taken any drugs. So, I don't know. Maybe I gave myself astigmatism.
Astigmatism is where the light from one point is not focused on a single point on the retina. So I don't know what the symptoms of that is, but
I have no idea.
You might have that.
Maybe I'll talk to my parents about it. I could just be developing one naturally, but
I mean, also yes, but anyway.
Because my vision has definitely like gotten worse over the past basically I've been wearing glasses for 10 years now, and my vision has declined a lot.
Yeah, it does.
So
just as you get older, but I noticed for Magda, she had a big problem seeing things, and having her glasses on and off and trying to look at things was an irritant to her while she was on the acid, and it was definitely a negative aspect that I didn't even consider, just not being able to see without your glasses on.
Well, the problem is that it's focusing the light in a different way so that your eye can see better.
Yeah.
But while you're high, it doesn't quite work the same, and so the way it focuses the light actually starts to hurt after a while.
Yeah.
Or at least for me, it actually just started hurting my eyes.
And
so.
I mean, because your eyes are having a harder time seeing. If you take the glasses off, your eyes are going to hurt even more.
No, well, for me, they hurt less when I took them off.
While still looking at things?
Yeah.
Were you able to see better with your glasses off on acid than not on acid?
Oh, I can see better in general. After taking 3 tabs, I can see better.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant you can see better with your glasses off in general. I was like, why do you wear them? But no, just
no. I mean, no.
Yeah,
I guess it's separate phenomenon.
Yeah,
they're separate things because I feel like I can see better now than I did before, but that's come at a cost.
Interesting.
Which is that my eyes are more light sensitive than they used to be.
I mean, that's part of seeing better, in dim situations, is just being more light sensitive.
Closing my eyes, I can still see a rectangle of the monitor.
That's not, you're not able to see it. That's just an after image effect.
Well, I have more after images than I used to. And sometimes even when my eyes are open, I can see them.
I mean, yeah. Were you not able to see after images when your eyes were open before?
I mean, occasionally, but
yeah, I get that all the time.
I think I just notice it more now as well.
That might
it's a big part of it.
You're just more aware of what the after images are and look like, and yeah, because looking at my computer for 5 minutes, if I look somewhere else, I have the after image of the square on whatever I'm looking at.
But I mean, you've taken acid too now, so you're not exactly a control subject.
This isn't a new sensation though. It's not a
Yeah,
this
I know.
has been forever.
I don't know.
But of course, I also used to just stare at lights. I would just stare at them to get the after image and then look at other things with after images. So, I'm not exactly a picture of optical health.
I don't know.
I would also stare at the sun. just to see how long you can. It's just like just look at the sun for a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
But my eyes work fine, so
I don't know. I probably overthink it, but yeah, the edible was just way too much. I really hate that feeling of like your skin pulsing all the time.
Yeah.
And like I feel like my eyes are about to bulge out of my head.
I will say it does get old. Like when I took edibles, like I said, it lasted like 14, 15 hours easily. And like you start to get tired of it for sure. But smoking, I feel like, is much better. Like smoking weed for sure, because it's much more controllable. It doesn't last nearly as long. I definitely would prefer that. But edibles are easy.
Well, I feel like the edibles, if they're making it with pure THC,
that's true too. You don't get the CBD.
If you don't get any of the CBD effect that like smooths it out,
Yeah.
That could be part of it. I don't know, but
oh fuck,
I don't know.
I just popped my elbow.
But yeah, I literally just had to like keep myself sane. I just had to like listen to a video and then like just walk around in a circle in my living room for like an hour. Because like it was much easier than like sitting still was just unbearable.
Interesting.
Well, and I did start having visuals too.
Yeah, like things started like not quite the walls are breathing, but the walls ripple and that sort of thing.
Well, if you do the thing as well when you stare at one place and everything starts to like, I don't know how to describe that.
It's extreme after images, but it all it's because of the dilation. Yeah.
That started happening to me as well. So it was much easier for my eyes if I was just walking around because my eyes weren't focusing on anything for that long. So. Yeah, I realized it really kicking in, and it was like 12:20.
Like AM, like after midnight.
No.
Or PM. Okay.
Like it was 20 afternoon, and it was pretty unbearable until like 1:30. Like around 1:30, I was able to just like sit down and rock back and forth, and have that be okay.
Now you know what I feel like all the time.
But just like laying down with my eyes closed was... I don't understand how anyone enjoys that feeling. I think the way my body processes that experience is just like not good.
I guess, yeah. You just...
But also, I must say, my heart rate was up at 180. For like that entire hour.
180.
I'm not joking. Like I could feel it. I didn't like just to take my heart rate. All I had to do was put my hand on my chest, and I could feel it. Like I don't know. It was pumping really, really hard, and it was at like 180.
Damn.
Yeah, because in 10 seconds it beat 30 times. So, yeah, and I texted you. I'm like, I'm surprised this isn't killing people.
I mean, there are definitely people that feel like they're going to die because of edibles. Like that's.
But like, but if you for realsy have your heart rate up that high, like I don't understand. See, because I call it a panic attack because my heart rate is just off the charts. Like, for me, just sitting in a chair and having my heart be that high is, like... That's insane. That's like as high as it would be if I was exerting myself on a cardio machine, like, at pretty much a full sprint.
Yeah, that's, like, peak.
So, you don't have that peak sustained for, like, an hour of you being high, So... I wouldn't say that I had a panic attack in the sense of like having a lot of negative emotions. I just felt like really uncomfortable and my body was freaking out. So
I mean, I guess, yeah, your whole blood pressure issue also might be,
Well, I've heard that it lowers your blood pressure, and if that's the case, then it would make sense that my heart would have to beat harder.
I thought it raised your blood pressure.
I don't know. I think it lowers it. You're tapping so hard on the keyboard, it sounds like.
I'm just typing.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, even just for the sake of my heart, I feel like I can't be fucking around with that stuff anymore. Because there's no way that that's good for you. Yeah, I feel fine now. I could probably take my pulse. Okay, so my heart rate's like 81 right now.
So yeah, apparently after consuming cannabis, studies suggest a moderate increase to heart rate and blood pressure.
Well, I don't know.
Followed by a decrease in blood pressure.
Okay, well, I mean, I felt like I was going to pass out at a certain point because I was just like, I was so lightheaded. I mean, it's hard to tell if you're lightheaded while you're high, but I felt like I was lightheaded as well as being extremely high, and I was like on the verge of passing out.
I mean, if you just pass out on your living room floor.
I mean, yeah, it's like I doubt that it's very good for your brain to just lose consciousness like that, but. Anyways, yeah, I made it through, and luckily I have a pretty good liver, so I metabolized it fairly quickly. Because, like I said, it was only that bad for like an hour, and then it was like gently decreasing in intensity for like the next 3 hours after that. So,
what strength are they supposed to be?
Again, they're all melted together.
Supposed to be.
They're supposed to be 25s.
25. Which is a decent dose. So if you took, 2 gummy bears worth.
No, I would say I took like 1.5 at most.
Okay.
So I don't think it was like a superhero dose.
Yeah, probably like 30 to 40 milligrams. Sounds about right.
Just felt awful. I felt well, I also drove after like 3 hours. So like, my faculties returned fairly quickly.
Yeah.
It was just that I felt uncomfortable in general for like a long time after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's the other component of it is that as far as like for my health goes, is that it just gives me insane munchies. Like
it did make you really hungry?
Insatiably hungry. Yes.
Huh.
Like, I had already eaten an entire pack of turkey bacon and a can of carrots. I tried the sliced carrots in the can from Del Monte, and they're actually decent. They tasted like pumpkin, which I wasn't expecting.
I mean, pumpkin's not bad.
I was like, it's a starch,
It's just nice and sugary.
But anyways. But then after that, I was like, as soon as I felt confident in my ability to drive, I drove directly to McDonald's.
Oh.
Got a large double quarter and a McChicken. So.
And made a McGangbang.
No, I actually paced myself and ate them separately. Because, like, I was hungry enough that I could have eaten the whole thing, but my stomach was already hurting from how much food was in it. So,
damn.
That's the thing. Is like I was hungry, even though I could literally feel in my body that it was full.
It is almost it just like turns off the chemical aspect of being full, so that you can fill your stomach up.
Yeah.
But the chemical switch never actually flips.
Well, that one time that I smoked, I was so hungry that I like 10 packs of crackers, and I had an insane stomach ache.
What type of crackers?
You know the like white trash ones that have like 6 things in them?
Oh,
it's like
yes.
It's like a cracker and peanut butter and then
cracker sandwiches.
Yeah.
Or it was peanut butter cracker sandwiches?
Well, I think it was a variety pack.
Okay.
And I literally ate 10 packs of those.
When you say 10 packs, I was thinking like 10 sleeves of saltines.
No.
Like, that is an insane number of crackers. But
I mean,
10 of those little packs is still a lot, granted. But
it's a lot of crackers.
I do binge, so it doesn't seem like that much to me. Like, that's, you know.
Well, the problem, too, was that I don't even think it's possible to consume enough water for you to be able to digest that much crackers well. So it hurts so much because I can tell how dry it was.
A dry sphere of crackers.
And I was like, just I was in severe pain for a while. But so yeah, I mean,
well,
I don't understand. And like I watched that video again where Tom Segura is talking about his edible experience. And he's like, yeah, I don't know why anyone would want to exist in that frame of mind. Like, Joey Diaz says that he just has panic attacks, like, all the time because of it. And it's like...
Why do you do that?
Why? Like... And he's like, it resets your batteries. I mean, I understand for someone who has so much pain in their heart that they can't be sober. But... I mean, that's basically where he exists, but because like this morning, even when I woke up, I just felt like numb, you know.
Yeah.
I think the depersonalization or whatever they call it, like what do you call that? Dissociation.
Yeah, dissociation.
When you just like feel like your life isn't real, and you're just like, what the, like what even? Why do I exist in this life? Like. I wasn't thinking about it that much, like it wasn't that deep, but I definitely just felt like separated from things.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, I feel the same thing coming down from the LSD for sure. The dissociation really kicks up a notch. Like, especially it's so hard to sleep. Like I pretty much have to stay up until early morning.
I have to like take a deep breath because it's like it brings back so many traumatic like feelings.
Yeah.
It's like
and like if you stayed up all night, like you start to dissociate pretty hard if you stay up all night.
Yeah.
Alone. Like I've done that so many times in my life. Like staying up all night was a regular thing for me. Like I would stay up for 2 nights and then sleep for 12 hours all the time in high school. Like that was a regular occurrence for me. And like for sure that second day is really interesting because you're fairly dissociated. Like it's, you know, but you combine that with having just experienced the acid, which is like the most real thing you've ever done.
After being awake 24 hours and having taken 3 tabs, it was a really challenging experience. Yeah. Like it just felt so. I just felt so like uncomfortable being in my life. You know?
Yeah, and it's just you separate from the reality. It's just hard to connect yourself to it. And
yeah,
I get that.
For sure. Going to work on Monday was such a weird thing because it's like
honestly, it's like being in a plane crash, you know, over the weekend, and then you just go back to your 9-to-5 job on Monday.
Yeah, and they're like, "What did you do this weekend?" And Malcolm asked me, and I'm like. Like,
I just chilled at home.
Just chilling at home, man. And he's like, yeah, I watched an entire season of Chopped. I'm like, God damn.
I feel like that's appropriate. If I'm going to watch Chopped, I'd watch an entire season.
I forget if it was Chopped or one of the other ones, but he just watches an insane amount of television. So
honestly, when I remembered early... So I took some acid on Thursday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I was up intermittently all night.
How much did you take?
Just 1 square, no exercise.
Okay.
I was just kind of trying to get a feel for it.
Yeah, that's like a nice first date dose in my mind.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's pretty manageable.
I'd say it's about 200. It's about twice what we took.
You really think so?
For sure. It's twice. I would say the dosage of the paper towels.
The blotters, they're called. Yeah.
It is also hard to say because the experiences are so different. You know.
Well, were you with Magda at all, or were you mostly alone?
Yes, I was with Magda the whole time.
Oh.
So the experience was very different. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Well, I also put on the wall.
Okay.
So, I mean, basically what happened was I waited about 50 minutes to an hour, and then I put on the wall. So, like, it was just as I was really getting into it. And then we just had sex for the entire time the wall was playing. Which is the best way to experience that album, I'm going to tell you.
I mean...
Which also is, yeah, so very different experience. But I was definitely lost. Like, there were definitely times where I was, I wasn't present. So...
What did she have to say about that
she enjoyed
experience?
herself.
I mean, it's a long time.
It is. It's an hour and 40-minute album.
I know.
Yeah, so... But the thing is, and like, I think there was one cool-down period of like 3 minutes, because it was one song, and you just start back up again. The acid really cranks it up. She was sober though, so she didn't take any.
That's the thing is I'm imagining she's just like, this is taking a long time. But I don't know.
I think it's a nice change for her.
Really?
Wow. I mean, 10 minutes is nice and all, but...
It's nice to go on a marathon every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while you just want to pound away for an hour or two. It wasn't as aggressive as usual. It was definitely much slower. I mean, The Wall is not really an aggressive album.
Yeah.
So there was, a lot more grinding. That sort of thing.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, that's so very different. But then by the time The Wall was over, I was still like, I watched Smash Mouth. All-Star by Smash Mouth, the music video.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, that is the prime way to enjoy music videos. Like, they are so entertaining. And then I just started watching
I feel like it's the best way to enjoy music in general.
I think it's the best way to enjoy everything, pretty much. It just makes everything good.
It makes entertainment better.
Yes.
I mean, I doubt that it would make, like, exercising feel better.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like menial labor or tasks would get better at all.
Yeah, it makes things more enjoyable though. Like, you wouldn't be able to focus on menial tasks and get them done, I don't feel like, but a 3-minute music video that tells a story is like spot on.
Yeah.
I also, what was the other? I watched some music video I'd never seen before, and I was so fascinated by it. Like, the story was so interesting. I can't even remember what it was now. Can't remember the song. I mean, I'm sure I'll remember it, but...
Was it another Smash Mouth song, or...?
No, it wasn't, but it was the same, Oh, it was 1985.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Which... Honestly,
I don't know if I've seen the music video for that.
I think the music video is actually pretty decent. It's corny, but it's kind of funny. But while on acid, it was perfect. So,
Hmm.
anyway. And then I looked up some fractals, just some like fractal gifs and things, and stared at
Yeah.
those for a while, and got lost in some Wish You Were Here.
Oh.
I drifted for a while. There was one point where I was staring at a fractal and Wish You Were Here was playing, and it's like there's like a 5 minute part where it's just very, very quiet, and it's like, but Magda was playing it off of her phone, and I kept looking at my screen and seeing the wall pulled up on my laptop, and
Oh yeah.
it made me feel like I was like, what? Like I'm trapped. Like I'm in this fractal, and it's the wall. But Wish You Were Here has been playing forever. It was a little anxiety moment for sure.
Interesting.
So, yeah, definitely. If I take more and I'm staring at fractals, I need to have better control of the music.
The music really is like a. See, people have said like if you really want to have an ego death, you just have to like lay in silence.
Uh-huh.
But to me, like silence is deafening
I mean, that's probably
when you're that high.
the reason why you have to lay in silence.
I don't know. I feel like my ego has dissolved enough that I don't have to like destroy it all the way.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't have a huge ego to begin with. Like,
well,
I'm kind of a loser in a lot of ways.
well,
Like, I have an ego, but I would say my life is very humbling in some ways also.
see, the fact that you're still so proud after all those humbling things must mean your ego is fucking jacked.
I mean, my life is going really well right now.
Oh.
like there are a few key areas where it could be better. Like, I wish I had more companionship. But like other than that, it's going really well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So when are you planning on doing your 3 tabs?
I'm not sure. We'll see.
I mean, there's no pressure.
Yeah,
if you don't end up wanting to do that anytime soon, then
I don't have a specific plan for it, or like a timeline. I do just I want to take different amounts just to, get a good feel for how much they really are.
I mean, yeah, I did the exact same thing. I basically took like half a tab and then
so I
2 tabs
I think
and then
next
1.
I'm going to take 2 tabs and kind of compare that to the experience I took last time. I've been estimating, I think I took somewhere between like 1.4 and 1.7 tabs, with the extra sauce last when I took it with Magda. So we'll see what 2 tabs does, and then maybe I'll do like 2 tabs with sauce, and then, we'll go from there.
See, well, are you going to try and space them out at least?
Yeah, I want to give it like a week and a half to 2 weeks between each.
I would give it 2, because I do know, like, your brain just needs to reset.
Yes.
Like, me doing it 3 weeks in a row was just,
Tired.
It was too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, my batteries started to wear out, like, before the peak was even over of the last time I did it.
Yeah.
So, and when you're taking big doses, you definitely want to have, like, enough fuel in the tank that you don't start to, like...
You're not exhausted.
You're not exhausted by it.
From the beginning, yeah. And, well, I think for me, too, it's a little bit easier dealing with the physical portion of the high, because I do enjoy that, actually. Like, all the sensations that you get, because, like, I didn't get too much sensation when we just took the one water, but when I took the last time with Magda,
I think this stuff is pretty pure. Like, I think it's straight from the lab. So,
yeah.
Honestly, I feel like that's part of it, is just that we're getting, like, it hasn't been sitting in a, like, the sheets of paper, I feel like will get, like, degrade easier. You know what I mean?
Perhaps. I'm not a scientist. Not a
I don't know.
scientist? That's...
I feel like if it's a piece of paper with salt on it, then it would be easier for that to like rub off, or like it's more exposed to the air, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like it degrades from UV light, so even just that is like,
Well, the paper would protect it from UV light more, wouldn't it?
well, that's the idea, but I don't know.
Because the gel is clear. Ish.
It's dark.
Well, yeah. It's
I don't know.
Translucent. Anyway.
Yeah, well, for me, it was just so hard to try and wait to take it again because I just felt like I had to go deeper.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel that, like, I need this in my life. Or, like, it's not like I need that to happen. It's just like I would like to experience that. You know, it's like, I feel like there is deeper to go, and I would like to do that.
I felt like it was calling me. But, yeah, I don't know. The other thing is that if they really are like 200, or if they are really 250...
You took 750. Again,
which is
I believe that. I can see that being a 750 high. Like, having a peak that lasts an hour?
It wasn't just a peak, though. Like, I'm not even sure you've reached the threshold that I'm talking about.
That lasted for that hour?
Because it was like, to me, here's what it felt like. Like, when I took the 3 in February, and then the 2 or whatever, I told you about, like, this 90-second window where, like, it's almost like I took the drug LSD, and then there was another drug that I took that was, like, took me to a different level. Like, there was a different threshold beyond which, like, it was just so much more powerful than the entire rest of the peak. But then even that higher threshold is where I was at for, like, an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That peak was that higher threshold on 3 lasted an hour and a half. It was
so powerful. Like, I definitely, even after an hour after I dropped, I said to myself, this is more high than I could have possibly imagined being before tonight.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was saying to myself, because I was just like, I don't know where I'm going, but...
I can definitely see that being a 7.
I'm on the ship. I don't know what to think about myself, if that's really what happened to me. Like I don't understand that I could just be so inherently, like, better at handling the effects that it would be that much more powerful. It's like hard for me to comprehend.
What do you mean better at handling?
Well, like, you told me that you thought, like, I was just much more naturally, like,
I think
able to deal with it.
Not only able to deal with it, but expecting it to be different than it is. Like, I feel like you... again, you expect to be blasted off to a different dimension, like to have a complete shift in how your brain works, like, entirely.
I mean, it did have a big shift.
Yeah. But it's, you know, it's still your brain. It's still,
just remembering going through changes. It's just...
So I think you handle
the flashback is real.
Yeah. PTSD.
See, I wouldn't call it, it's not, like, there's not a better word for it than traumatic. But it's like something that's traumatic, but it's a bittersweet thing. Like, it's not just purely negative, you know? It's just so intense. Like, it's just the intensity of it that is, like, overwhelming.
I mean, the most real thing you've ever done. You know, speaking from a chemistry point of view.
I honestly, after I had that experience, I was like, I don't know if Adison should ever do this.
Oh!
Like, well, mostly because I was like, you have a history of mental illness in your family. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
suicidal tendencies.
I felt like, well, I just felt like I was at the point where, like, the CIA could have just turned me into a fruit. Like, I felt like my brain was just so ready to, like, fracture that it could have just happened if I wasn't, like, keeping it together.
I don't know. I could go crazy.
I don't know. There were people in that documentary who said they forgot who they were after taking, like, 2 tabs. And I was just like...
See, I think that's just weak-willed people.
I guess. Maybe it's like in Star Wars when they said, like, you can only do the wave thing to people who are weak-minded. But
yeah.
It's hard to gauge how much of a difference there is in people's mental strength.
Well,
like,
not necessarily mental strength, but self-awareness, I think, is huge. Like, having lived in your own mind, having already examined your own thought patterns and who you actually are and taken that apart, both of us have analyzed ourselves a lot. Like, we know how we think. We know, you know, it's... So...
I don't know. I was gonna say I'm not really scared of my unconscious either, but then I was like... I don't know if that's true.
Durden, you know.
Well, I had that nightmare as well the other night on the edible.
Yeah.
Not yesterday. This was like a couple of weeks ago. I had a nightmare off an edible, and I was like, it was pretty scary.
I mean, everything you fear resides in the unconscious.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's like when I was at that big of a dose, it was hard to determine. I was like, if I give in to this feeling, is that ego death, or is that just like the void of me having a terrible trip? Like, I felt like I could just fall down into like a psychosis, like, and just be completely gone, you know? It was scary to do that because it was all by myself.
Yeah. You don't have to sit there. That's the thing, too.
And I'm in an apartment building, not a house, which makes me feel less comfortable in many ways. Because there's, like, just random noises and, like, things happening around me that are, like...
that's fair.
Or, like, you know how sometimes you can hear people out these windows?
Yeah.
But I didn't just want to have, like, a psychotic episode by myself.
You don't have a psychotic episode. You want to have it with someone else.
I mean, I would at least like to know that there's one adult in the room that's, like...
Would you do it with a kid?
Depends on the kid. Depends on how old they were.
Like Dakota.
No. There's no way.
But yeah, I would have Magda babysitting me. But, you know, I'd probably tell her to leave me alone unless I, like, call out for help.
I mean, I feel like that's the other problem is there's a certain point where you just might not be able to communicate even though you need help.
But see, I don't think I need help unless I ask for it. Like, you know, if I become catatonic, I'm not too worried. You know, I'm not going to cause physical harm to myself.
That's true. It might just be, you know, unbearable for a while.
Yeah.
And then...
But see, that doesn't scare me. Like, yes, I might just have an awful experience and it will feel like a really long time, and maybe it is a little traumatic. Whatever. Everyone has trauma. You know, suck it up. Suck a dick about it, you know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
It's a challenging experience.
Trauma's just trauma, you know.
I don't know. I got enough of a taste of it that I don't feel the need to induce it on myself. Like just imagining what it was like is enough to like make me feel a bit anxious. So I don't know. I feel like the other thing is like people are like, "Oh, I want to learn about myself and stuff," but it's like I feel like I already know most of what there is to know.
See, that's the thing too. Again, we're fairly self-aware. Like, the taking acid, I think it can help you understand like your emotional states, and like it can help with introspection. But
See, I feel like I feel like I did gain a lot of perspective on what symbols mean and how like basically everything you interact with in life is a symbol in one way or another.
yeah,
Like everything you interact with means something.
yes,
And if you're not consciously aware of like the things in your life, what they mean and how you set them up, then you can get into trouble because it's like, well, your life might be set up in a way where everything you've surrounded yourself with is pulling you down and making your life harder.
but see, I don't feel like it really like you have to have the acid to come to that realization.
You don't have to. I'm just saying for me, like, it gave me a deeper realization and understanding of, like, how much those things actually affect you.
A symbol. Yeah.
Well, it's like the thing I was saying about, like, what place you're in. It was just, like, the modality of the situation.
Mm-hmm. You just realize how important that is to you.
Well, it's just how much is affecting you constantly. I mean, like, if you're tired and that makes you 10% more irritable, sometimes it's hard to realize that you're 10% more irritable.
Yeah.
But, like, if you were 10% more irritable all the time, you would be a significantly less happy person.
Yeah.
So, like, a small difference that you might not notice over time accumulates into something that's actually, like, has a huge effect on you. You know? And, like, the things that you spend the most time doing are the things that you spend 5 minutes doing every day. You know what I mean?
The things you do consistently.
So.
Yeah, I just think the whole, people just taking it because they want to, they want to learn about themselves.
I feel like you need to put the effort in first of, like, how we did.
Yeah, it's, analyzing yourself is the way you learn about yourself. Putting yourself in different states and then analyzing yourself will let you learn about yourself. But it's the analyzation. It's not the different state.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you still have to analyze it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless maybe at a certain point you take so much LSD, you just start, you encounter yourself. Who knows? But...
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the most cathartic moment that I could have, I've already had. Like, the material that I needed to deal with and resolve, I feel like has been
resolved.
Pretty much resolved now. As much as it can be. Like, I mean, life is not an open and closed book that you just can, like, oh, the story of this situation is over now. Like, it's very rare that things are just over. And so there's always going to be some... the doors are always open, in a sense. Like, I think that's why sometimes it's so traumatic when people die, is because you're like, that is over now.
Yeah, it is. It's
like, my relationship with such and such person will never be there again.
Yeah.
But it's like, when people are still alive, even if that relationship is, like, resolved, it's like, well, they're still out there somewhere doing things, Like, Tom Cruise is just, like, out there right now, just doing something.
Just living.
Yeah.
So
it's weird, because it's like, I feel like for me, those relationships never really go away. Like they're just like floating around back here. Like
For me, I do feel like they end. But they end, and so like they still exist. It's kind of like The Office.
they still exist. That's
Like
the thing
like The
that I'm talking
Office
about.
is still a part of me. Like I can still go back and watch it. It's still there, but it's concluded. It is a whole thing.
Yeah.
Like my relationship with Amanda, right? It's like that's a thing, and it's concluded, and it's over. I still have it. Like it's still there in me, but it's not. It's wrapped up. There's no need. And it's kind of like with Corey, like my best friend as a child from ages 8 to 17, 18, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It's over. It's done. That's just. And
Yeah.
he's still alive, and
I don't know.
like my mom still talks to him occasionally, and they're like, "Oh, you should invite him." And I'm like, "We're not friends. Like that's not how it works. We're different people. It's not,
Yeah.
That's not how life works."
Well, that's the weird thing about our relationship is that we've now lived apart for like a year and a half, or no, just over a year.
Just over a year.
Guess it's like a year and a few months.
Yeah. But I mean,
I guess maybe it wouldn't be the same in another like 10 years, but I don't know.
But also, we're basically our only friends. So it's
Yeah.
different. Like with Corey, when I left on my mission, I was on a mission.
There's tons of other people.
Yeah, and it's entirely different. Like you can't just talk on the phone. You can't be texting. All you get, an email.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a way to, to have a friendship. Like that's. Like me and you, we weren't friends on my mission. Not really. I mean, we started emailing there at the end.
And that was just because of my guilt.
Yeah. And that was just because you felt you should. And I had no thought.
Well, I wanted to reestablish the relationship with you once you got back.
Yes.
But there was also guilt from me having not emailed you the entire time.
Yeah. But, I didn't care. It was, it's emails. It's a business relationship, basically, if you're emailing each other once a week. That's not...
And, I feel like the reason the last few months it even mattered is because there was an expectation that you would be back soon.
Yes, yeah. And it was okay, we're restarting this so that when I get back...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could live together and, you wouldn't have to live at your house anymore.
Exactly. I could use... Throwing out to the big man.
Anyways.
Yep. So, yeah. But, and if Corey moved to live nearby me, if we happened to live near each other again,
I would hang out with him.
I would probably become friends with him again. But it would be a different friendship, too. I might. Who knows? I might not. He might no longer be an interesting person. I can't say whether or not he would be. It's been 5 years, 5 very formative years since we've had a real conversation. So.
Well, that's the thing about the drugs too. Is it's like the last few times we've seen each other have just been like. You know what I mean? Well, I saw you briefly in last month or whatever.
Hours.
That was barely even a thing, though.
Yeah. Ate some bad duck.
So that fucked my stomach up like crazy. Having that much fat in my body was just
brilliant.
Well, and then the next day, I'm pretty sure I ate some deviled eggs that had been made with some. I think the mayo was off.
Oh.
But the deviled eggs are just too good to resist.
Honestly, they are so.
So I had like 8 of
good.
them.
I'm not sure what it is about a deviled egg, but
it's
just the mayo mixed with yolk. Is
the perfect combination.
It is. And do you sprinkle them with paprika? Is that a thing your family does? Yeah. So, topped with that, just a little bit of spice.
There's some dill in there, too.
Oh, really? I don't think my family uses dill.
Well, no, it's not. They use... Well, I think they used to.
Pickles in it?
I think they put relish in it.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit.
So yeah, we never we would put relish in our potato salad, which is another one of those things that's like it's mayo and relish and potatoes and mustard.
Potato salad to me, I have to say my fondness for baked potatoes has declined substantially since I was a kid.
See, baked potato and potato salad are two entirely different things in my mind.
Well, maybe the chunks of potato in the potato salads that I've had are so big that at a certain point, all the mayo's gone. You just feel like you're eating baked potato.
Yeah, see, you're using way too much potato.
Yeah, like
the potatoes are like little cubes. That's No.
We're talking like a home fries.
Okay.
Like they use big chunks of potatoes.
Yeah,
and
I'm
so
not a fan of that kind of potato salad. I also like my potato salad to have a good deal of mustard. Like I like a pretty good helping of mustard. And I
you need some Dijon in there or something.
I think a lot of people don't use enough mustard. Their potato salad is just like a little bland to me. It's just mayo and potatoes, which you need the mustard.
Yeah. You need some salt and pepper or something.
Yeah. Some relish. I like the dill in there. A bit of pickles,
Yeah, potato salad is...
I'm a fan.
I would probably like it if I made it. It was mostly like just deviled eggs with a little bit of potato in it. Like, that would work for me. But I don't know.
Alright, so do you want to air that whole conversation?
I mean, yeah. It could be a separate part if you want, but yeah, we can get into the list.
I just know you were saying you were all tentative about your drug use.
I don't care that much.
Alrighty then.
I mean, I mostly just didn't want to have a podcast episode that was titled like Zach's drug use. Like, I didn't want that to show up in a Google search result, But I don't know.
Zach's alcoholism.
Well, if there wasn't a literal, like, there's a high probability that I'll have to apply for a secret clearance at some point just to be a PCB designer. You know what I mean? Like, just tons of the jobs in this industry, you'd need a secret clearance.
Yeah, because it's a lot of government work.
Yeah, like if you're designing rockets, they don't want you just like
share that shit.
Well, you at least have to pass a background check, basically. So I don't want them to Google my name and see like,
Zach's drug use.
Yeah.
I get it.
Anyways.
Well, what else we're talking about today is, again, a prime number, our 11 favorite Office episodes. So I think favorite's a good word. We're just the ones that we enjoy the most, think are the best episodes. Now, I did cheat. Several of mine are 2-part episodes. So I put the whole episode, if we have to, I can choose a part.
A lot of mine are like, I don't know if they're necessarily 2 parts, but they're like 40-minute episodes.
That's a 2-part episode. Yeah. If it's 40 minutes. It's
well, some of them, like Lecture Circuit, is like a literal part 1 and part 2.
Yeah. And
but then there's like
Niagara Falls is technically Niagara Falls part 1 and Niagara Falls part 2.
There's some of them that are more clearly delineated than others.
Anyone that airs in separate episodes is the multiple part, episode.
I would count it anyways. It's fine. Like if you want to say, yeah, that's fine.
And these I did actually number, so I do have these. And
see, I didn't number mine this time. So.
And
they're loosely numbered, but not.
Some of them are very close. Like I can't really say that 9 is that much better than 10, but I do have a loose ranking from 11 to 1.
I think, mine are fairly. There's a ranking ish.
Ish.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with your number 11.
Well, I have as well. I have like 8 honorable mentions, but I think we should say those at the end because if some of them are on your list, then
yeah.
Okay, so my number 11 is the coup.
Oh.
Which is when Dwight basically gets the idea to go behind Michael's back to Jan and try and get the job of regional manager.
It's a good one.
And first of all, it starts out with Varsity Blues, that whole bit, which I just think is hilarious. I think, like, as an episode, it really is enjoyable from beginning to end. That's what I have to say about most of my list, is it's like, there's some moments that are, like, you know, pretty high highs for me, but if the episode in general isn't entertaining from start to finish, I have a hard time with it.
That's fair.
Putting it on this list. So yeah, the coup, I just think...
What's the B plot in the coup?
I
have to pull up the list.
feel like it has to do with Angela. I'm not sure, though.
See,
I don't know if there is much of a B plot. I think it's...
I was gonna
pretty...
say, I don't remember. But
I don't know.
For me, that was part of making my list too. Is I had to enjoy the B plot as well.
And I must say, most of these episodes I probably have not seen in like a year, at least. So I'm going basically off of the level of fondness in my memory.
Oh, it's just Pam and Jim, flirting basically. It's just the B plot. It's find creative ways to waste time. So that's...
I don't even remember what that's referring to.
I think they're just like throwing stuff in Dwight's cup, that sort of thing. Right, like they end up throwing chips at Dwight's cup, and it's just like little things.
No, during the coup, Jim is in Stanford, I thought. I thought Jim was gone for that.
Yeah, he is.
Wait, maybe it's a Stanford B plot. Maybe that's what it is.
It's episode 3.
Yeah,
so
he's gone.
Be gone. Yeah.
Maybe it's the chair thing. I forget what episode that is. No, I think that's Initiation.
No, it's the chips. It's
the chips.
It's
okay.
Jim and what's her face.
Yeah, I'm exposing how long it's been since I've seen some of these episodes because I totally forgot that. But that's a fun B plot too to me as well.
It's decent.
So yeah, I just think it's a good episode.
Okay.
So, well, I was gonna say actually real quick.
Oh yeah.
The best moment in the episode is when Dwight's literally in tears, crying, and he's like kneeling before Michael, and he's like prostrated upon the earth. And then he gets up, and there's a little piece of spit that is coming down his face, and then he inhales, and it goes back up into his mouth. Just, it's great. Like, the amount of, shame and embarrassment that is cast upon him in that moment is great.
It's pretty good.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, my number 11 is safety training.
That is on my list as well.
Okay, yep, that's the episode when Michael in the office joins Daryl, and Michael pushed a ladder out from under Daryl, so they have to do safety training, and Michael's upset because the warehouse guys make fun of him for having a nerf job, and so he intends to commit suicide. So, and then the B plot is just everyone gambling. Which I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And it's like Creed eats a potato, and
is that all in the same episode?
Yeah, Creed eats a potato. Kevin, makes if John Denver ever wins a Oscar, he'll be a very rich man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I do like the whole Karen jealousy bit too. Like the Karen starts to feel excluded from the office. I like that.
Right, during the gambling part, yeah.
During the gambling, yeah. So, altogether,
it's a great episode. I feel like
for me.
I feel like I actually can relate to the experience a lot of when you're pretending something, but then you realize that's actually how you feel.
Yeah, it's like I'm only pretending to want to commit suicide, but I actually kind of do.
Yeah, that was, I guess, number 9 on my list technically. Although again, yeah, I didn't rank them very clearly. So, okay, well, you'll have to say another one then to keep us even.
Okay, my number 10 is The Lover, which is when Jim.
It's on my honorable mentions.
Okay, Jim and Pam find out that Michael is stuffing Pam's mom.
Yeah.
Which, again, best moment is just when Jim asks Michael, what kind of car does she drive?
She drives a green Camry. Fuck. Yeah.
And the seats
that
go
is
all
the best
the way
moment.
down.
Yeah. The bleep is so perfectly timed there.
It is. And then Dwight has the Mallard. That's the B plot in The Lover.
Yeah,
You know, Dwight's spying on Jim. And then, so yeah, it's all in all pretty great episode for me.
I love the moment when Pam is just standing in the parking lot screaming into the heavens.
Also, the confrontation in the conference room when she yells out, "Don't call my mother your lover." And then we're like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's a good moment for me.
It made my honorable mentions. So, alright, go again. You gotta go again, man.
That's not on your list. It's just honorable mention.
Oh, it was on honorable mention. Okay, I lied. Sorry.
Together. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is Scott's Tots.
Oh!
Is it on your list?
It's not.
Ah, damn. Okay, so now we had a discussion about this a while ago of saying if you don't like the episode of Scott's Tots, you're a fake fan of The Office. Like, you don't get it. Yes. I don't think, because the cringe humor is
very real.
What makes Michael as a character be so excellent, you know? Like, that's one of the fundamental aspects of his character.
Yes.
And, like, from the moment where Stanley starts laughing, like, he's holding up the paper and just, like, dying laughing.
See, for me, yes, the scene...
It's such a powerful episode.
It is. And I love the episode, but I was looking at it, and it does make my honorable mentions, but the B plot is what kept it off for me. It was, I can't even remember what it was at this point. Let me look again. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't consider that too much.
It's the Jim, doing the Employee of the Month thing, which...
That's true. That's
it. So that's why it kept off the list. If it was just Michael, it would have been on my list. But the B plot kind of drags the episode a bit for me.
That's fair.
So.
See, I felt like there were some of my honorable mentions that I feel like were more enjoyable episodes, but this one is just so.
I mean,
it's so cringe feeling.
Wait. You know? They're lithium.
Yeah. That's one of the best jokes in the whole show.
It is. It's very well done.
Just Michael versus the mob. Like.
And he has, nothing to soothe them.
Yeah. Wait. They're lithium. Like, I remember when we were in the YSA, there would be a few times when everyone was mad at us, and we did that. We said that line, and it yields the exact same reaction as on the show.
they nailed the reaction.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's hard to watch. The thing with Aaron is super cringy in the car.
Yeah. But to me, that part is just kind of like, it's not that cringe. Like, it's not funny cringy. It's just kind of like dragging.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, there's definitely some honorable mentions that are more enjoyable.
That's fair.
So.
All right, my number 9 is Customer Survey. Customer Survey. Pam's in New York.
This would be on your list.
You knew it would be.
Oh yeah, you always have said this is one of your favorites.
I love it. Yeah, and it's Jim and Dwight get poor reviews on their customer
Honestly, this was on my honorable mentions. It probably should have been on my list.
Now, the whole Jim having Pam in his ear thing, it does create some great, like, it as itself isn't that funny.
I forgot that was that episode.
But as a device, like when he's talking to Dwight, he's like, "How many shoes do you need? 1, maybe 2, or 2, maybe 3, and 1 works out." And like Kelly doing the "I was raped" bit, and he's like,
"See that? I was gonna say
you were raped and expect all your problems to go again, go away again, not again, Kelly." Yeah,
not again. Yeah. That I was gonna say that's actually. I was thinking about that when I was making this. I think that's the best joke in the episode.
It is, and I do also enjoy the micromanagement. The microagement. When Jim and Dwight are yelling at each other. But yeah, the "I was raped" and just like it all fits together so well, and him discovering the cups. I feel like as an episode, it really kind of nails like the mystery of the situation. Like it's a mystery episode where he's trying to solve this problem, and he like finds out, and I really enjoy it. Yeah, customer survey is definitely a good
that probably. See, I forgot about the thing with the earphone, because that kind of pushes it up my list a little bit. Because like when Dwight starts playing centerfold as well in the car, and Pam's just like,
"Oh, loud!"
But then she's like, "Na na 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 na," like,
yeah,
that's a great moment as well.
And then Kelly's "Get out of my nook," and Pam is just excited about that's what she said. It's a good bit,
and it's not even a good. It's not even a good usage if that's what she said, really.
Yeah, but and Jim's just like, good job. Good one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, so customer survey. That's my number 9.
Okay, so my next one would be Fun Run.
Oh, not on my list.
See, I think there's something about Season 4 that really clicks for me. Because I have a bunch of Season 4 episodes on here. Partially because they're the longer episodes. Because Fun Run is a double episode.
It is, yes.
But just the opening scene where he's eating cereal. He's like, "Jan made me breakfast this morning." Well, she bought the milk. It's soy. Like, and then he's just going about his day, and then he hits Meredith with his car.
I do forget about...
As a comedic concept, the fact that he hits her with his car is just such a great premise for an episode.
The second half of Fun Run kind of makes me forget about the first half of the episode. Like, the first half of the episode, you have him hitting Meredith with your car. You have the porn on the computer.
Yeah.
You have Pam downloading the celebrity section. You have Mittens dying. So
Sprinkles.
Or Sprinkles, yeah. Not
yeah, the whole subplot of Angela and Dwight really works for me. Because thematically, I think it really ties in.
It does. That's fair. Fun Run's a good episode.
And Pam and Jim are like in the beginning, like honeymoon part of their relationship as well. And they're like keeping it secret.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole episode just works for me.
That's fair.
Well, and then Michael at the end, when he's like basically on that verge of like dying because he's like he's so weak.
I've never eaten so much pasta or drank so little water in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the rabies awareness thing is pretty funny as well.
It is. How many of you know someone who's been affected by rabies? 1, 2, 3. Too many to count.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid choice. I'll give that one to you. Alright, so that was your number 8?
Yes. I think so, yeah.
My number 8 is Women's Appreciation.
It's a great episode. I didn't specifically put it on the list. I would say like the last 6 episodes of season 3 are all really amazing.
Season 3 is pretty dang good. So Women's Appreciation is when Phyllis gets flashed. You have such lines as "Take phallus to John sketch." Sorry, penis on the brain. We're gonna install spotlights. Won't that just shed more light on the penises? You know,
Well,
that's.
I think when he's looking at the pictures and he's like, "Is that a Polaroid?"
Are those your pants, Dwight? That's a Polaroid. And he just takes it. Yeah, so Dwight leading up the anti-flashing task force. I love that. I love Michael getting Jan advice from his ladies. You know, I use the
Yeah.
line all the time on what's a pap smear, or is it schmear, like on a bagel? So
Yeah.
all in all, I think that episode, you have Pam drawing Dwight, as a pedophile. It's
The ending of it too, when he breaks up with Jan, is such a classic moment.
Oh yes, and Jan, like, she gets his message while he's talking to her. Yeah,
Yeah.
So women's appreciation, definitely my eighth pick.
I would say, yeah, it definitely, that episode is good enough. It could have replaced almost any of them on my list, and I would have been okay with. Well, not. I would say like my top three are like pretty
solid.
solid.
My top three are basic bitch top three, basically, but
It kind of is what it is. I hear you.
All right, number 7.
So my next one is also from season 4, Launch Party.
Oh, not on my list.
Launch Party? How would it be better if it said Launch Party, Kevin?
It's a 2-parter as well, isn't it? It's a 40-minute episode.
Yep. And I don't know what it is about this episode, but when I have a hankering to watch The Office, it always seems like this is one of the episodes that I look to watch. Like, I feel like the drama with Dwight and Angela having split up and how temperamental the two of them are is great. Michael being like...
a little bitch to Ryan.
Well, he's like, it's actually a club called Chat Room. He's just like instantly starts turning around. He's like, that is an invitation to the online party. He's like, is there 3 W's at the start of the address? And the way he points at the paper is just, it's perfect. Like, yeah, I feel like it really comes together for me. And then, like...
him kidnapping the pizza boy.
It's perfect. Like, like the subplot with him beating the computer, and like Jim and Pam do like the little like the computer came alive thing. I just think the whole episode really, it works.
See, for me, all around, the episode is like, it's perfectly done, but not outstanding, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like it all works just right, and it all goes really well together, but it doesn't really hit me. Like,
I think that's the episode as well when Andy does the...
he gets the ice sculpture, and...
he does the song, Take a Chance on Me.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, it's probably at the end of that episode.
I want to say it is.
Yeah, because I think it's, Dwight and Michael go to New York to get sushi, and I think it cuts at the end to Andy doing the song.
I don't know. But yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Like I said, it's just one that I really enjoy rewatching. So.
Yeah, and it is a 40-minute, so you do get a little more in there. You get a little more storyline. I do appreciate that about the 40-minute episodes. My next one is Business School.
That's nowhere near my list.
No, nowhere near. See, I love Business School.
The part at the art thing at the end is probably the best part of that.
See, I love Michael's whole interaction with Ryan. Like, his entire trip to business school and him trying to be included, like him playing Frisbee with random kids and him, like, getting upset and arguing with the class. And all of it is fantastic. The Pam subplot of, like, trying to get people to come to her art show in the first half of the episode is mediocre. I will say that. But the way it turns out with Michael showing up and, like, buying it and putting it up, and Michael's whole conclusion with, it's not about firing people, it's about hiring people, inspiring people, that little glimpse of competence you get from Michael after his whole, Five Titans and everything. It's just like that for me comes together as a perfect episode, and as like a Michael story arc. It just satisfies emotionally and comedically for me so well. But yeah, like America is facing five Goliaths. Terrorism, global warming, mercury poisoning,
flash floods.
So what are we gonna do? Just give up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. So yeah, that's my number 7.
It's decent. The whole business school thing, I must say, I think the extras that they picked to be the students, some of them do not give convincing. Like the kid whose book he rips up, his face looks so strange to me for some reason.
That kid's performance. Like the way
it doesn't totally work for me.
Like to me, he looks perfectly stunned and defeated. Like,
See, I feel like a regular person would object more to what's happening.
I enjoyed that he was just stunned. Like he was just
he's just shocked into submission, basically.
Exactly. I enjoyed that.
That's fair. Okay. That's an interesting pick. Okay, now I'm sure this is on your list, but we have to talk about it, is stress relief.
It is. That's actually my number 1.
See, I don't think it's worthy of the number 1 spot. I think if you're saying what's the best 6 minutes of The Office, then the opening is just so iconic at this point.
See, the opening isn't even the best 6 minutes.
Really?
Well,
you don't think so?
The CPR.
The CPR thing is pretty good as well. Yeah.
Like the opening is astounding, and then the CPR top. Here's why it's on the top of my list. The opening is utter madness. Like it's just people screaming, and there's so much going on. And then the CPR scene perfectly mimics that to me. Like it's the exact same energy as the opening. But the jokes hit even harder in my opinion. Like there's so much more happening. And then I would say the first half of it, so it's a 2-parter as well.
It slows down quite a bit in the middle section.
The first part is definitely my favorite. The second part with the roast is also very good. I still really enjoy it, but the roast isn't nearly as good as the first half. So,
well, the whole meditation part is pretty slow as well.
See, I enjoy the meditation part. Like, that's still enjoyable and funny to me.
Yeah, it's a good episode, but I'm just saying, like, for it to be the best.
See, yeah.
It falls a bit for me.
It's those two things are such great exemplars of just insane humor, or, that it definitely tops it for me.
Yeah.
And then the roast, the fact that he ends it and, like, gets roasted, and then he comes back and just gives childish insults to everyone really casts it super well for me. So, it's definitely my number 1, stress relief.
Interesting. Yeah, see, I think it's a bit too ridiculous for me for it to be number 1.
That's fair, I suppose. Not believable enough.
Yeah. It's great, though. I had to, include it.
Yeah, definitely on my list, though. Alright, so you got my number 1. So we're on to your number 5? Or do you want me to go with my number 6?
Whatever keeps us even.
I mean, we've both revealed the same number now. The same number. So it'd be you.
So my next one is The Return.
Okay.
So there's a few things that makes this great. One is the Oscar came back. And I don't know if Gay Witch Hunt is on your list, but that was another honorable mention for me.
It was an honorable mention for me. It just barely didn't make the cut. It was like 12 or 13.
But, so like Oscar is back. You have the whole thing with Andy, like basically degenerating into madness.
Just Michael hating everything Andy's doing, basically.
Yeah. And I feel like it's just so accurate. Like, just the emotion that you feel in that moment is just so well described. Like the part where he's standing behind the door, doing talking to the camera.
Such little self-awareness.
It's great. And then like, you know, Dwight being at Staples, I think is pretty funny. Because yeah, like that episode opens. Actually, you know what? If you were counting double episodes, so this is actually an interesting case because, it actually, I believe it aired as a double episode.
Oh, really?
With Traveling Salesman and The Return. I'm not sure, but like the discs I have on DVDs, it's a single 40-minute episode.
Okay.
And they're actually put together, and the edit is actually a bit different. Like because they're spliced together, there's like a B plot added about Pam. I think Pam won an art contest or something. And when the episodes are split up, that's cut out.
That's true.
And then there's a shot in The Return that, well, I was sad that they took out. There's a shot in The Return where Michael goes out to his car and it's full of snow. And when they combined them into one episode, they took that out for some reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it must have just been for time.
I guess, yeah.
But anyways, though, The Return, though, like, that whole arc is great, but The Return is definitely a great episode.
See, Traveling Salesman to me, it's definitely, like, the whole, all of them going out in pairs, it's okay. It doesn't quite clinch it for me. I definitely see The Return is definitely better. Yeah, so, like, as its own episode, I feel like it's definitely, it's not on my list, but...
Why didn't you have me come in riding on a donkey? Ah, a burro!
If Oscar wants a donkey, let's go to a donkey.
So yeah, The Return, it just feels good to me, you know?
Okay.
It feels good.
Feels good. Pervert. Okay, my number 6 is Money, which this is a 2-part episode.
That was my next one.
Nice. Yeah, so Money is the episode where Michael works another job in the first
as a telemarketer.
As a telemarketer. And
do you love it even more now?
and he quits that because he can't handle it. And then the second episode is him trying to figure out his money problems and declaring bankruptcy with Oscar. And then he runs away to...
He runs away on a train.
He goes and sits on a train, but the engineer left. So...
the engineer left.
You're a presentation tool. No, you're not. You're not a presentation.
The B plot as well is Jim and Pam going to Schrute Farms.
Yes, it is.
Which is great.
And Dwight is depressed about Angela breaking up with him the whole time. And so he's just, crying and depressed. And so it's all around a pretty great episode for sure.
Yeah, and you see the callback of him holding the statue as well. That was a great detail.
Yes. Yeah, because...
The cherub figurine.
Yeah, the cherub figurine is missing, and he kept it, because it's hers. Yeah, so it's all in all, and again, it is a 40-minute episode, so you're able to get a little more story in there, but... And his evaluation of Die Hard 1 versus 4, spot on.
Yeah.
It's really great.
I love the moment when they're in the meeting and Ryan is there, and he's like, why is Daryl here? Oh, I invited him. It's not a party. Back downstairs. Like, that is such a great, like, in the moment line to say.
Yeah.
That it's like, you can tell that it's in a show, but if Ryan actually said that, like, it gives you more respect for Ryan in that moment.
It's such a, like, bitchy power move.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Back downstairs. Yeah. So that was my number 6. That was your number 5. My number 5 is
I think that was my number 4.
Oh? Oh, yeah, because I already have my number 1. So,
Yeah.
my number 5 is conflict resolution, which is... It's actually...
I don't have that one.
It's a season 2 episode.
Yeah.
So it's earlier on. You have the whole Dwight threatening to quit because all of Jim's malfeasance has not been reported. You have Angela and Oscar with the baby poster, which I really like.
Well, and they're taking the pictures that episode too.
And yeah, the B plot kinda is like the pictures being taken. And Phyllis, is wearing a disguise. And yeah, so it really clinches for me the like cringe humor because everything Michael does is just awful for everyone around him. And then that's also the Jim complaining about Pam episode. So Jim complained about Pam planning her wedding.
Yeah.
And that tension. I would describe the episode as having a lot of tension. It's tension filled. So it definitely it epitomizes season 2 for me.
I would agree with that. It's definitely a classic season 2 episode.
Yeah, and I love season 2. Season 2, it's hard to say, but it's probably my favorite season. I love the tension. It really, it does it for me. So, but it really But the thing is, all of season 2 is very similar. Like the episodes don't stand out that much. It's just as a whole.
It's not nearly as story driven. There's not nearly as much of a through line.
Yeah, so it's definitely that's the one that really stands out to me in season 2 is conflict resolution. Win-win-win. Because Michael just wants that win-win-win. And,
See, my next one is I think my only inclusion from season 2 in my top 11, and I feel like it's an even better episode of season 2, and that's the injury.
It's on my list as well, yeah.
The injury, just the entire premise, is absolutely perfect.
the injury is... It is amazing.
It's one of the best episodes. It's like... What's wrong with the moon-faced kid?
Yeah, and then him calling in and just, insulting a man in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Basically, and it's the injury.
And Dwight being Pam's friend for that episode.
Chucking the thing, yeah, for sure. It's a high quality episode.
Yeah. And then them going to the hospital together at the end. He's like, reason for going to the hospital. Taking somebody to the hospital. Yeah. He's like,
is the skin red and swollen? That's what she said. Damn it, Dwight, don't.
That's my joke.
Yeah, it's pretty great, for sure. So that was my number 3.
Okay. So my next one is Dinner Party.
I figured that's my number 2.
So, I mean, what can you say about Dinner Party? The jokes are so stacked. There are just so many jokes packed into that 22-minute episode.
Yes, it's
almost every single line is a setup and a punchline at the same time. It feels like.
Yeah, the opening of Michael just screaming at no one over the phone.
Yeah.
So that he can trick Jim and Pam into the opening is great. The setup for the episode of he tricked them into coming over. Dwight showing up halfway through, just before dinner for sure. It's another it's a cringy episode. You have to love the cringe, but it's so high quality.
I think the inclusion of the song, throughout and also at the end, is really what ties the episode together, because it really gives the last 2 minutes of the episode a real sense of it really comes together.
Yeah, it gives it a sense of completion for sure.
And I feel like that's one of the things like that episode could have been mediocre if it just sort of ended somewhere.
Yeah, and like,
I feel
and then
like
the ending, you do have
that montage that it sort of gives you all the songs playing.
Yeah, it ends with Michael and Jan are breaking up. Pam and Jim are having a great like it ties in all the relationships really well.
Yep.
Angela and Andy are still together, but it's a hateful relationship. You know, like he smashes.
And then you
ice
see the
cream
old
on
lady
side of his
standing
car.
at the bus stop.
Yeah, Dwight just drops her off at the bus stop. You know, it's the way it wraps up each of their relationships from the dinner party too. It's almost like it's its whole own little movie. Like it really does a good job of concluding everything for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it except that it's just so well done. You know.
I mean, best moment. I mean, personally, the charades, or like it's not charades. I don't know what game it is they're playing, but it's
it's charades.
Guess a celebrity, but like you can talk, so it's not exact. I don't know.
It's sort of like Taboo.
Yeah,
I guess, or catchphrase maybe.
Yeah, something like that, where it's like guess the celebrity, and Jim just him pretending not to know who Tom
Arnold
Cruise is,
Schwarzenegger,
and then yelling it out on the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
That is like the peak to me. That's just because like Jim's actually enjoying himself a little bit.
Katie Holmes.
No, he's married her. Oh, Dawson's Creek.
That's a real person. Yeah.
For sure. All right, what's your number one?
It's great. So my number one is what I believe to be one of the most complete episodes of the show, and that's the initiation.
I thought it would be.
That's always been one of my favorite episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for one, it's Pretzel Day. It really nails the whole idea of like sometimes you're trying to be productive, but there's just like this. I just got to do this first, and then I can get to work, sort of thing. Like all the distractions from actually doing any work. It really nails that. I feel like,
That's the first episode of season 3, isn't it? Because it also introduces everyone in Stanford, right?
No, it's episode 6.
Oh, really?
So the B plot in Stanford is the squeaky chair.
Okay.
Which is not like a top tier B plot, but it takes up very little screen time.
Yeah.
So it kind of works, and it sets up Jim and Karen being more flirty with each other.
Yes.
So
and that episode ends with Jim and Pam over the phone.
And they have basically a 3-hour phone call.
Yes.
It's implied.
And then they hang up because Dwight and Ryan got back, and there was that confusion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the thing about that episode is that I've had phone calls like that, and it's just like,
oh. Yeah. Okay.
Like, but and the Ryan and Dwight thing too is just when he takes him into the bar and like he has all these tests and stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And then they don't get back to the office until late.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like it leaves a lot up to the imagination as well.
They go out drinking and they're just hanging out.
Yeah.
See, for me, it doesn't quite punch. It's kind of like Launch Party, where all in all, it's a good episode, but it doesn't quite, give me that punch in the gut that I want.
I feel like it just brings everything together that I'm looking for in an episode.
So, I mean, yeah, I guess. It's
and
just...
like Pam has to track all the things Michael's doing as well. Like he does his Bill Cosby impression on the phone.
Yeah. He falls asleep.
Yeah.
After his pretzel.
There's just a lot going on.
There is. I respect it as a choice, but yeah, it doesn't quite make it there for me. So my 1, 2, and 3 was Stress Relief, Dinner Party, The Injury, which all 3 made your list. And then my number 4 was Diversity Day, which is actually a season 1 pick. So it's when Mr. Brown gets called in to do diversity training because Michael did a Chris Rock routine, which mentions different types of black people.
Yeah.
And honestly, it bumps for me. Like the fact that he is just upset by Mr. Brown the whole time, and then he does his own diversity training where everyone wears a different race, and he's just racist to everyone, and it hits for me.
By stereotypes that I completely disagree with, you would maybe not be such a good driver.
Oh man! Yeah, and then
that's a great line.
You know, some colored greens. It's collard greens. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You don't call them collared people.
Yeah, I would say it's the whole thing where Kelly slaps him. It's a bit too cringy for me.
Really? See, I feel like that's the perfect amount. Like, I love the cringe. I do. It's
when it crosses over into like a physical violence, to me it sort of like breaks the like illusion a little bit. See, I remember when I was a kid it made me feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's the point. It's like like he did something so offensive that she was willing to slap her boss. Like really I like
no it. I can definitely see why you'd put it up on the list. There's nothing thematically about it that really comes together for me, though, either.
That's fair. I mean, I do also like, that's still when Jim and Pam are just kind of flirty, and the end of the episode...
She falls asleep on his arm,
Pam asleep on his shoulder, and then he's like, I don't know, it was a good day. Because he also, the B-plot on that is Jim losing the biggest sale of the year to Dwight, because he's never able to get on the phone. So, it's just kind of... I do like that, that setup of Jim, all he really cares about is Pam. It's like, it's not all he really cares about, but just having a girl you like fall asleep on your shoulder makes up for losing the biggest sale of the year. It's a nice sort of cuck situation. All around, I love the cringe of the episode. And my name is Mr. Brown. I'm not going to call you that.
It is great. I think a big part of it for me also is it just has that season 1 vibe that it doesn't totally.
See,
it doesn't click as well as the later seasons.
Yeah,
but they didn't have it down to a T yet.
It's much more British. It copies the British Office much more. It's much closer to that feel. It's not nearly as emotional. It's not as... You don't get the plot that really is as emotionally satisfying in the first season. That's true. In general, the plot of the first season is more just kind of cringe humor. That's kind of the point of the plot.
The thing is, with Scott's Tots, the cringe humor serves... It's almost like a character development for Michael. He shows regret and he learns something, and it makes it a little bit more bearable.
And I think part of the reason it's more bearable in the later seasons for most people is that in the first season, Michael is absolutely socially retarded compared to everyone else except Dwight. Dwight is very strange, and Michael is very offensive. And everyone else is just a normal person who works in the office.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just... And, Jim pulls pranks. Yeah, he's kind of funny. He put Dwight's thing in Jello. He put Dwight's stapler in Jello. And, he's an interesting person, but everyone else is still very normal, which makes it much cringier. Then by season 6, you have Did I Stutter from Stanley, and you have Phyllis saying weird things to Karen, and everyone becomes stranger, so it doesn't seem like Michael and Dwight are as agonizingly weird. But in that first season, it's just a really bad boss put in an office with all normal people, which makes
it's more purely offensive.
Yes, it is. It's much more stressful, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot cringier.
Yeah, I don't get too bothered by the cringiness as much as it's just
Not as satisfying.
it's not as preferable to me as some of the other stuff.
That's fair. See, I really
But
like it. I actually
I
just
think
finished watching The British Office, but
I feel like you convinced me to replace Scott's Tots on my list with customer survey while we were talking about it.
nice.
So I don't even know. But okay, and then I have some honorable mentions as well.
Yeah, and go for it. What are yours?
So The Lover we already talked about a little bit.
Yes.
Beach Games.
Okay.
Beach Games was close to being on my list.
Okay. It's a good one.
I just think it's a great sort of bit episode.
Yeah, it is.
There's just a lot of opportunities for ridiculous jokes. But I feel like it does sort of, for the point that you're at in the series, it feels really good. Like everything that's happening with the characters feels right.
It is. Yeah. It's not spot on for the character development.
Well, I love when Michael's like, if you don't like it, Stanley, you can go to the back of the bus. Like,
or the front of the bus.
Or the front, or you could drive the bus. So yeah, I did put the finale on my honorable mentions just because I think it is a great wrap up, and I'm glad that there was some sort of satisfying finality to it.
That's fair.
Like, and I think about the thing that they say where it's like, the beauty of it is just that it is an ordinary office.
Uh-huh.
Like, I feel like I relate to that theme a lot. But so yeah, the finale was one. I mean, it's the fact that Michael has like been absent for 2 seasons just makes it kind of weird, because it's like the grand finale of any show that has like the main character has been gone for 2 seasons. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
The finale of the show could have been Michael leaving.
Yes.
And that,
like, there are 2 finales. It's Michael leaving is a finale, and then the finale is another finale. Like, it's 2 different show endings, is what it feels like.
So I would say neither one is truly like a perfect finale, a perfect ending, because they both need a little bit of the other one,
Yeah.
Branch Wars is one.
Okay.
Where they drive to Utica.
Yes.
And just the whole drive there, Dwight peeing in the can. And you're like, what's happening? You're making me stray. You're making me spray. And then, like, him hearing them while they're in the stairway, and you just hear all the crashing sound effects.
Yeah.
I feel like the confrontation with Karen is nice, too.
It
like,
is.
that she really hates him still is satisfying.
it is. Yeah, that is satisfying to see the animosity.
Yeah. So that's a great episode. And then I put in Did I Stutter?
Did I Stutter was on my honorable mentions. It almost made it.
Because the way when they're all alone, and then Michael just goes,
why are you so mean to me?
I don't understand why you keep picking on me. Like, and then the way that Stanley just honestly says that he doesn't respect Michael, it's like it was almost necessary for somebody to say that to him at some point in the show.
Yes.
And I want to say that the B plot of that episode is I could be totally wrong, but isn't it when they're watching the movie with Andy? Or is that a different one?
Let me check real quick. I have it pulled up. No, that's when Dwight flips Andy's car. When he buys it from Andy.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, he resells it. He betrays Andy, basically.
Which episode is the one where they watch the movie with him?
That's later on, because that's when Pam's parents are getting a divorce. I think that's season 5. I want to say. Could be.
I kind of forget when Did I Stutter occurs, but
Let me see.
in any case, my next one is my last one on the honorable mentions was Heavy Competition.
Was what?
Heavy Competition.
Which one's that?
That's when they're doing Michael Scott Paper Company and they're fighting with Dunder Mifflin.
Okay. Yes.
And they go to the restaurant and Dwight puts a fish in their office.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they're like, "We've been robbed," and he's like,
I have your sandwich here.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
I knew you would do that. The meatball parm is their worst sandwich. Damn it. Bastard.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then it ends with them driving to the client's office, and just the power play there is just so great.
That's pretty good.
So I wanted to include at least one of the Michael Scott Paper Company episodes because I feel like it's such a good little microcosm.
It is
for the show, you know.
Yeah, but none of the episodes really hit me. Again, it's like I love the bit.
Individually, they're not amazing, but
individually, yeah, they don't quite do it for me.
Yeah, I think Heavy Competition is the best one of those episodes.
Okay.
Well, and it's like the van too.
Yeah.
That they drive around in, and the old lady.
No, I think that one's broke.
Maybe it is.
Yeah, that's the next episode.
Is this just cream and sugar?
Is this just normal sugar?
Oh yeah.
You drink this every day? Every morning. Yeah.
I could get used to that.
I mean, just sweet milk. So
honestly, that's the biggest part of weight loss. That's like, it's sad to me is that I no longer drink almost any milk.
Oh, poor kid.
Like I just don't drink milk anymore, and it's one of my favorite things in my whole life, and I just don't drink it. I used to drink like a quart of milk every day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I just can't afford to do that anymore, you know? But like a sip of it is not satisfying. I need a quart.
Yeah,
you know?
you don't want to drink a tiny cup of milk.
Yeah, then I just feel worse. Anyways.
Alright, I think I have more honorable mentions than you do. But
I could have written down more. I just wanted to keep it a bit more exclusive, I guess.
That's fair. So in order, starting at the earliest, moving later, sexual harassment in season 2.
I don't like that episode.
Yeah, I know you dislike it. I like Packer in that.
I just don't like Packer as a character. I don't like him.
I enjoy it, and we've talked about that. So that's when Packer comes around and Michael gets in trouble for making inappropriate jokes. The client in season 2, which is when
that's
Michael
a great episode,
and Jan hook up.
Yep.
Yeah, he just spends the whole time regaling. And then I think they also read the screenplay. So you have the whole and Jim and Pam into the night, with grilled cheese sandwiches and fireworks. So that's a pretty good episode for me. And then the carpet is my third honorable mention from season 2. Which
it's not my favorite, but
I enjoy the whole hate crime thing and him going through the different stages of grief on what's happened to his carpet. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that episode has lost a lot on the rewatch for me over the years, but
that's fair. We already talked about Gay Witch Hunt. That was definitely that made it the honorable mentions in season 3, and then season 3 for me, it's good altogether, but not too many episodes that really punch. So,
I feel like season 3 has a lot of hitters in it.
Like it's kind of like season 2 for me. Like it's really high quality, but I guess it just doesn't punch quite as much.
Interesting.
Yeah, season 4, Survivor Man almost made it to my top 11.
The B plot on that is so boring to me.
That's true.
With Jim trying to
birthdays.
Yeah, I think it's a lame B plot.
That's fair. The B plot isn't great, but I do really enjoy Michael in the woods and Dwight watching him in the woods.
Yeah.
Did I Stutter? That made my honorable mentions. And then it was, let's see here. Let me just go through the list again. Frame Toby. That was a close one. I really like Frame Toby. The whole Pam being disgusted with the microwave, it's okay. That's part of why it didn't make it. The B plot is, you know.
The whole thing is just okay to me.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's pretty much it. And then just the finale. Well, Michael, goodbye Michael. You know, that's my finale. That's what I think of as the finale. But, so.
Interesting.
Those are my honorable mentions.
If I had done like a few honorable mentions from every season, there would have been quite a few in season 6. Because, while I think seasons 3 through 5 are easily the best seasons, well, 2 through 5. I think 6 is right up there as well.
Yeah, 6 is still really good.
See, to me, 2 and 6 are about as good as each other.
For me, I don't like the Jim and Pam get married, and then Jim becomes the manager. I think that happens. That might actually be season 7 when Jim becomes the manager. But I think
he becomes co-manager in season 6. In like episode 2 or 3 of season 6.
Yeah, he actually becomes co-manager before the wedding. Yeah. So
the wedding episodes and the delivery episodes to me are actually, I really enjoy both of those.
See, to me, they're just kind of mediocre. Like the whole, I don't really like Jim and Pam getting the A plot. I'm not a huge fan of them. You know, I prefer Michael. You know, that's just. You know,
Gossip is an amazing episode too.
Gossip is really good.
I actually probably should have put that on my honorable mentions. The fact that Andy has to be convinced that he's not gay.
The whole, like, if Brad Pitt were to force himself on me, I relate to that. So in your fantasy...
But why are you fantasy? Yeah.
Not my fantasy, just like this, you know, theoretical situation.
I don't know. He might be gay.
PDA is a good season 7 one. I enjoy PDA.
I was gonna maybe say the one where employee transfer, where they're driving Holly.
Oh yeah.
To Nashua.
What's the B plot on that one?
I have no clue. It's in season 5.
Yeah.
It really has been a while, to be honest, since I've watched the show. I have to say.
Oh yeah, it's the Dwight and Andy Cornell thing. Yeah.
But like the Rascal Flats, the progression of that, and then at a certain point she just starts crying, like sobbing, and then Daryl's on the phone. He's like, "I really need you right now."
That point is
when he says
Michael is sitting there. He's like, "Did Daryl touch you?" He's like, "What?" And then it's when they're arguing that Daryl.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He's like, "Hey man, it's been a while since we talked. I really want to talk to you. Call me back."
Yeah.
Did Daryl touch you?